Hi everybody, I'm Jared Pike. This is Shell Point Today for Monday, August 12th. Today's show is all about the Woodshop. We'll see a work of art created by shop supervisor Phil Nedeau, which he actually paddles in the water. We'll learn how the cross in the Pavilion Steinbach Chapel was built by Davey and Don Draggoo. And we'll find out how Bob Selkirk transitioned from being shop supervisor to Shell Point resident, but still loving his time in the woodshop. But first, we have some big dining news. The Crystal Room is closed for the remainder of August, so they can retool their menus. This happens every summer with all of our dining venues. For example, the Cafe Promenade is also currently closed, and they will reopen on August 27th. In September, the Palm Grill takes its hiatus and will reopen on September 25th. But the one you need to know for now, the Crystal Room is closed and will be out of service for 2 weeks. However, they will still offer their traditional Sunday brunch, so you Village Church people don't have to travel far to get a great meal after church. And as always, the Island Cafe is open for all meals from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. 777 at the Island Cafe. Now, in this month's issue of Shell Point Life magazine, we tell the story of some guys in the Shell Point Woodshop who took a toppled mahogany tree from the Echo Farm in North Fort Myers and turned it into beautiful pieces of furniture. That's just one example of the amazing projects that are undertaken in our woodshop every day. And you can see it for yourself, as the Woodshop is sponsoring a behind-the-scenes tour tomorrow morning. See all 3,000 square feet of this workshop and witness demonstrations of all the different machinery available. This free event happens tomorrow morning from 10:15 a.m. to 12 noon in the Woodshop, which is located in the Island Tunnel. Now, to whet your appetite a bit, we have 3 stories today of amazing projects created in the Shell Point Woodshop. The first one is tough to miss if you've ever visited the Steinbach Chapel in the Pavilion. It's a giant cross, which is accented by stained glass. The cross and the altar table were created by Shell Point residents Davey and Don Draggoo.
I'm Willie Demarest from Coquina Court here at Shell Point. I'm standing here in the meditation chapel of the Pavilion. And we're here today with Don Draggoo and Davey to talk about this wonderful project that they were involved in. I'm so excited about what you will hear today and what you will see here that these 2 men have crafted. And Don, I understand that your son actually designed the cross and the altar below it, the 8-foot altar. Can you tell us about how this all came to be and how he got to be the designer?
Well, Randy Woods brought Jim and I over here in late spring when the chapel was still just very crude and construction was just roughed in, and showed us the size of it and the height of all. And at the end of that, he says, I want you and Jim to build a cross and a table for this. And when we got over the shock, it was in that context that I said, well, we are woodworkers. We put together things that are made from plans, and there's no plans here. I said, you need to, it was in that context that I said, my son ought to be involved in this because he could give us some ideas and come up with some design. And so Randy called my son, and about 2 months later, sometime in September, he submitted some designs, and they were enthusiastically received, and this is what is the result.
So he is a designer by profession.
Yes, he is.
Well, I understand that you've done an amazing job of engineering this, Jim. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us how you did this? And you did it all, I understand, in the woodshop, in the tunnel.
Yeah, that's right, except for the glasswork. That was done by craftsmen here in town. There are really basically 3 engineering challenges. First, how do you float a massive oak tabletop on top of an insubstantial thin ribbon of glass? And then how do you put glass in a cross without the arms of the cross deforming? And how do you hang that freestanding? And we tried many different solutions, and finally it came together when we were introduced to a metalsmith here in town, Byron Woods. And Byron made the aluminum framework to hold the glass, and it also holds the 200-pound top of the table. And he made an aluminum frame for the cross that holds the glass, and then we simply encased that aluminum frame with wood. The idea for the cabling came from Donald again, Don's son, who went to a church in Naples and saw how they hung their cross, and he brought that idea back. And there's actually a cable that runs down to the center of gravity of the cross and back up again. It's one continuous loop of cable.
How long did this actually take, this project?
We've calculated it. We spent 156 hours? 176 hours, and almost exactly 2 months. Both
2
of us
months,
working.
all inside, pretty much all of it inside that wood shop of the tunnel.
Right.
Amazing. I'd like the last part of this interview to focus on the symbolism of the cross. And Jim, I know that you've been really interested in this, and I know the residents would be, and I would be very interested in the symbolism. Can you share that with us now?
Well, Willie, I realize that symbolism resides within the eye of the beholder, and what one person sees as rich symbolism to another person is just wood and plaster. But if you notice the cross, there are 3 pieces of red glass. 2 on the cross arms and 1 at the foot of the cross. And that, of course, speaks to the wounds of our Lord as the Romans nailed him to that cross. Another thing that I think of when I see the cross is that it's opaque. I can't exactly see through it, and yet I can see a little bit. I can see some light and some things. And as I was making the cross, I thought often of 1 Corinthians, where the Apostle Paul said, "Now I see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know as now I am known." So the cross is our gateway, really, to eternal life through Christ. One other thing about the cross is that this is obviously a beautiful piece, intended to be that. But the original cross wasn't. It was an instrument of torture. And because of what Christ did on the cross, that shame of the cross has transformed everything. And it becomes a thing of beauty. And that's what he wants to do in our lives as well.
That is beautiful. What a beautiful analogy. Thank you so much for your hard work, your dedication, and for sharing with us today.
Many people have said that the wood shop was a big draw in attracting them to Shell Point. Bob Selkirk of Paul Makers is one of those people. After moving his parents into Shell Point in the 1980s, he took the position of wood shop supervisor. He then became a Shell Point resident himself, after which he actually spent more time in the wood shop. Let's hear his story.
My father and mother used to winter in Brownsville, Texas, and some friends there called and said, "You know, your folks can't stay here alone any longer by themselves." So we did some research and found out that Shell Point had space available. And I flew to Brownsville and packed my folks up, and we moved them in to Shell Point in 1985. Shortly after that, I had a cancer operation, and I was kind of antsy after that, and so I noticed that they had an ad for the woodshop supervisor in Shell Point. And I said, "Hey, you know, I'd like to try that." So I became the woodshop foreman at that time, and I did that until we moved here in 1990. And then, of course, you can't work for Shell Point and be a resident at the same time, so I had to relinquish that job. So
You never stopped working in the
No,
woodshop.
no. A good share of my time is spent repairing things for people here at Shell Point, repairing furniture. I'm building a little portable speakers platform right now, which will fold up, and usually what happens is somebody will come in the shop and they'll talk to the shop foreman, which is Phil Nedeau now, and he'll have a list of things that he needs this fixed, he needs that repaired, or somebody wants you to build this, and that's usually where my time is spent now. I really enjoy fixing things for other people. That's a pleasure to me. I get lots of little notes. I keep a file in my office of all these little testimonials, you might say. Yeah, it's very interesting, very touching to receive something like that. Because people do appreciate, because they have something broke. A leg is broken off a piece of furniture that just moved here, and the movers broke a leg off and it's fractured it. It's quite a challenge to put it all back together as it was before, and where else would you go? And people do appreciate that greatly, and we certainly welcome that type of thing at the woodshop. I'm thankful for the Shell Point Woodshop, where I spend my productive mornings 6 days of the week. I'm thankful for all the small repair and fix-it jobs that come my way from residents. It's been a godsend. If it wasn't for that, I'd be hard-pressed to find activities that would be as nice and comfortable to handle.
Our current woodshop supervisor, Phil Nedeau, is quite the artisan in his own right. Would you believe that one of his most beautiful creations he tossed into the lagoon? And it floated, because it's a kayak, a fully functional 18-foot-long wooden kayak, one of the most dazzling kayaks we've ever seen, which took 5 years for him to build. We asked Phil to describe the construction process.
Hi, I'm Dan Philgreen with Shell Point TV, and today I'm here with Phil Nedeau, who's the supervisor of the resident woodshop. And Phil has come really close to completing an amazing project here that we're going to take a look at today. And this is I believe it's called a strip construction kayak. Do I have that straight, Phil?
Right. It's strip kayak.
And tell us what inspired you to build this beautiful boat?
Because I fell in love with kayaking, and I went down to look at a 16-footer that I love for cruising with, and they wanted $4,200, and I didn't have $4,200. So being a woodworker and finding out that you could build them out of strip materials, I decided, well, we'll build one.
Well, this whole technique, it just produces what's really a work of art. I mean, I can hardly believe you're going to want to put it in the water. But you say this is something you're actually going to use, huh?
Yes. It will go in the water, and I'm kind of anxious to put it in.
Well, I guess I would be too. I mean, if you're bound to put this piece of artwork in the water, I would want to get it there. Tell us, how long did it take you to build this, Phil?
It takes approximately about 350 hours, but this is spread out over about 5 years.
So 5 years of weekends and evenings and whatnot?
Yes, and you can only do that so often before you go, okay, I need a break of a month or two.
Yeah, and so all the materials, you say $4,200 to buy something right off the shelf. Do you have any idea how much money you have in this project?
With the rudder assembly, I'll have $1,350.
Now, was this all? Did you buy all this wood for the project, or did you get some leftovers from other things, or where'd you get all the materials?
No, actually, when you buy the plans, it comes in a mailing tube about 4 inches in diameter and about 3 feet long, and then you build everything from scratch.
So you had to find your materials various places, and now did you get the strips in strips, or did you have to cut these all to size, or how'd that all work?
No, if you buy it as a kit with the strips attached, it'll cost you $1,300 just for that. So wood-wise, I have maybe $450 in wood, and then I cut it myself. It's cheaper that way.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is a beautiful craft. And what kind of wood is it? And then the finishing, it's just so glossy and glassy. Tell us about how you finished it and what species of woods you used.
Well, the dark wood on here is South American walnut, which smells the same as American walnut, but it's a straighter grain. It's a whole lot cheaper. And then the white wood on here is basswood, fairly cheap and light. The bottom of it and the center in here is Honduras mahogany, and then everything else on here is Spanish cedar.
And the finish system, what makes it so beautiful?
That is a lot of sanding. About 70 hours worth of sanding, and then, because this is glassed over, and this is coated with 3 coats of automobile clear coat. It's a 2-part urethane.
Wow, so it ought to last a good long time, huh?
Until I run into the rocks.
Well, Phil, this looks really intricate. What was probably the hardest part of this whole project?
The toughest part on this thing is curving the wood for the bow and stern, and the other hard part is this inlay right here. It's everything else is an outside cut. You finish it, you cut at the end, and that's it. But on this, you have to cut one end, move the slat tight against the other piece, then cut the mark and cut the other end. And if you're too short, you throw it away and start again. So, and I'm not sure how many slats are in here. I think it looks about 12 or 15 through here, and every one of them's cut at both ends.
And what kind of glue did you use to actually glue the strips together with?
I used a polyurethane glue. It's waterproof, and it'll expand a little bit to fill any gaps in. If you use normal wood glue, you would have to wait at least a week before you could coat it with fiberglass, because you still have a little moisture in there. This is moisture cured, and it doesn't. It's 100% waterproof, but it does not withstand ultraviolet. Ultraviolet will break down polyurethane glue in a matter of weeks.
So what is providing the ultraviolet protection?
The clear coat automotive is probably 10 times more UV protection in it than spar varnish, and it's 3 coats of clear on here.
So you can see right through it, but the UV doesn't get through.
Right, exactly.
And tell us about these this opening here. I see you've got one on the front and one on the back.
All right, these are hashes for storage. There's a bulkhead in front and in back of the cockpit where you sit. So it's all sealed off. I don't have the seal in here at the moment. In fact, you have to build this seal area to match your boat. You cannot buy it, which is just laid up fiberglass. And I'll put a rubber seal in here, and then the hatch will fit on top. And I'll have latches on it to hold it tight. So you have a pretty good amount of storage. This particular design can hold about 100 pounds of materials. It's rated for 300 pounds passenger and a load.
Well, terrific. And what's the overall weight?
Overall weight of this is about 65 pounds. The length is 18 feet 6 inches, and it's 22.5 inches wide.
Well, fabulous. Well, it is a beautiful craft, Phil. I can hardly believe you're going to put it in the water instead of putting it in a museum, but looks like it must be a very rewarding thing to see come together like this.
Well, the one good thing is I know I'm going to take it out. I know I'm going to scratch it, but since I can build it, I can also repair it.
Well, there you go. Well, I hope you have many years of enjoyment out of it. We'll look forward to seeing you out there paddling away. So this is Dan Phil Green and Phil Nedeau signing off for SPTV.
If you want to see even more amazing things coming out of the Shell Point Woodshop, tomorrow morning is your chance. The Woodshop is sponsoring a behind-the-scenes tour where you can see all 3,000 square feet of this workshop and witness demonstrations of all the different machinery available. This free event happens tomorrow morning from 10:15 a.m. to 12 o'clock noon in the Woodshop, which is located in the Island Tunnel. Now, before we cover all of Monday's happenings, let's get a preview of this week's episode of Listening to the Words.
On this week's Listening to the Words program, enjoy the story behind one of Shell Point's master artists, Gaz Goslin, who transforms shells into flowers. Hear my 1963 report from Germany on the delicate craft of creating gold leaves. Learn about a Southwest Florida woman's heartfelt and helpful online blog. Hear 3 pieces about toys and marionettes that come to life. Learn a lesson from a mermaid's mistake, corrected at last. And try to guess who will win in one man's battle of wits with one of Sanibel's great blue herons. David Howenstein inviting you to Listen to the Words, the radio program every day this week on Shell Point Channel 13.
Welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. Today is Monday, August 12th. I'm Suzanne Zavada, and I'm here with Bev Chanley to go over all the activities happening today. We'll start off at 9 o'clock with the Round Robin men's doubles tennis group meeting out at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. At 9:15, we have billiards in the Resident and Activity Center. We have pottery down in the pottery studio with instruction available. And we have virtual bowling in the Resident Activity Center, all of these taking place on the island. At 10 o'clock, we have a Suzy Q trip to Nervous Nellie's for lunch. Sign up is required by calling the Island Greeters Desk, and it's $5 per passenger. At 10:30, the Disciple Men's Bible Study Group will meet in the game room at the Woodlands. At 10:45, we have table tennis. This is the playing clinic in the Tarpon Room on the island. And our last morning activity is 11:30, Health Connections, Agility and Flexibility in the Health Club on the island, and it is closed. Now let's go on to Bev for the afternoon.
We're going to start out the afternoon activities with Mahjong. That'll be played in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. 1:15, the Scrabble game will be in the Library Lounge down on the island. Also at 1:15, table tennis will be set up down in the Tarpon Room. There's a Health Connection class at 1:45, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1. That'll be in Health Club. Currently that is full. Now 2 o'clock, you'll find the Beady-Eyed Bead Club in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. 3 o'clock, there's a Health Connections class. This time it's Pilates stretch class. That's in the Health Club. $5 per class, no sign-up required. At 3 o'clock, the Suzy Q will be sailing to Rum Runners for an early dinner. Sign-up is required. You'll call the Island Greeters Desk for that reservation. It's $5 per person. And at 6:30, you'll find Duplicate Bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. And then our last activity for the day is 7 o'clock, Square Dancing at the Health Club on the island. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Menus for your Monday. The Crystal Room is closed until August 25th. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy a chicken tender wrap with fresh fruit for $6.95. The dinner special is grilled tilapia with fruit salsa, rice pilaf, and fresh fruit for $7.95. And the Palm Grill is closed on Mondays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to Village Church Connections. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Pastor Randy Woods, for being with me.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Randy, we have talked several times now about some of the renovations that are taking place at the church, particularly the backstage area, and we are nearing completion. How's it going?
Well, we've made a lot of progress. You remember back July 9th as they unloaded the risers, the chairs, the equipment, and moved all that furniture and storage out. Had a clean box to work with, so they've repainted, and new cabinets, lighting, ceiling, carpet is to be laid this week, and so we're making progress, and we're right on schedule, getting ready for the choir to come back, and things will be good.
I'm excited, but I'm sure that you're even more so, because it means that things will get going again and you'll have a fresh space to work in.
Yeah, it's been a good time to do this work, and the Shell Point staff with the contractors coming in have done a really good job. But the Shell Point staff managing the project and seeing everything completed is really good. But it will be brighter. The paint is a dove white, nice carpet that complements that, and cabinetry. So storage for the choir robes would be much more accessible, as well as the music folders, cabinets, Shell Point Singers music, all those things I think will really complement all the programs that we do back there.
It's great, and we appreciate Shell Point's work on that. And just as we finish the completion of that backstage area, we are preparing to begin renovation in our lobby area.
That's right. I know that's coming right around the corner. What is the plan as we make progress there?
We will be beginning the week of August 12th,
okay.
And during the course of the next few weeks, we'll see things come out of that area. They'll be redoing walls, they'll be redoing doors, redoing flooring, lighting, and it will be a totally new space when they're done.
Yeah. Most of our folks are aware that we've written about this project in Shell Point Life, and one of the details is obviously to change the choir room, but in the lobby, trying to update things, make it fresh and much more comfortable. But the concern during the transition is accessibility. How is that addressed?
Well, during the week, there will probably be days when coming through those front doors and into the lobby will not work. And so follow signage.
Okay.
We'll use some alternate entrances, probably the sliding door over by the pavilion side of the building.
Okay.
During the Sunday services, we will of course have access to that area because we will need to do that. So they are going to be working very carefully, trying to hit things on Monday morning and have things to a point where they can open that lobby back up by the end of the week, and we'll have access for the weekend.
And as you said, there'll always be signage to direct traffic, restrooms being accessible, and the doors for all the programs. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's going to be a little inconvenient, but in the long run, it's going to be well worth it and be a nice improvement for our space as we gather for all the programs, worship services, and all these special fellowship times that we have in the community.
It will be, and we try to choose the best time to hit these projects when the activity level is a little lower, and so this is the time to do it, and we'll just all work with it and make it work.
Okay, well, I'm sure we can keep the folks updated with pictures, but better yet, come and see the work in progress. Come to choir. Choir starts on the 21st, and then the following Monday, Shell Point Singers, so you too can be back in the choir room. Yes.
Thank you, Randy, for joining me today, and thank you as well. Have a wonderful day.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we give you one last reminder of Shell Point's digital TV transition. We'll also hear the story of Ken Rohde, who flew B-17s during the war as pilot, co-pilot, and tail gunner. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Monday, August 12th. I'm Jared Pike, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.